Hello and welcome back to IT with Tech UX. Today we're diving into FastAPI's powerful data validation using Pydantic. If you've ever struggled with making sure your API inputs are correct, whether it's checking email formats, numbers, or nested JSON, Pydantic makes it super easy in FastAPI. And at the end of this video, you'll be able to implement FastAPI and validate your inputs. So let's get to it. The first thing you want to do is to set up your FastAPI application with Pydantic installed. If you have not done that, you can open a new terminal then pip install FastAPI and Pydantic. This will install FastAPI and Pydantic. So, because I've installed mine, what I have to do now is to import base model from Pydantic for us to start our validation. So, from Pydantic, import base model. Now, after installing base model, the next thing we want to do is to write a class that we extend base model that we imported from Pydantic. The essence of creating a new class that extends base model is for us to be able to specify our data types, which means after we specified our data type, users won't be able to pass any other data type to our endpoint. To do that, what we have to do is to create a new class called users that extends base model. And in here, for every of the inputs that we're expecting from the user, we have to pass it in here with the data type. So what we can do is for our own user, we'll be taking in the username and we'll be taking in email and the age of the user for the sake of this tutorial. So let's take username, which is going to be a string, email, which is also going to be a string, and the age, which is going to be an integer. So what we have done here is we have declared our data type, which means if a user tries to pass what does not match any of these data types, then FastAPI automatically rejects it with a clear error. So creating the class alone is not enough, but we have to implement it in our endpoint. So for this reason, let's create another endpoint called register. And I'm going to use the app decorator here, app.post. And we're going to call this /register. Then we'll define our function, create new user. And for now, let's just have this function that won't do anything. So now that we've created our endpoint, the next thing we want to do is to pass users, which is going to be a type of users. And what this is going to do is when you send a post request to users, which of course is going to come in through our register endpoint, FastAPI automatically validates the input against our user model and no more manual checks. So what I'm saying in essence is the moment the user pass in the email, the username, and the age, FastAPI takes it and compares it with the model that we've created in here. If any of the input does not match the data type that we've specified, then what that means is FastAPI will then throw an error. So for this now, let's just return and say users or let's call it message. Then we're going to return user created. And we're going to pass it the data, data will then be our user. So what this is going to do is whatever information will pass to our user here is going to be returned as the data in our response. So if I save this, I already have my server running using UVCon, and I go back to the browser, then refresh this page. Now you can see a new endpoint in here, which we just created to use Pydantic. Now, if I open this, you can see we have an example of what we are expecting based on the model that we created, which extend the Pydantic base model. So this is indicating that username is going to be a string, email is going to be a string, and age is going to be an integer. So if we try this out and pass this now, then let's say age is 20, then execute. Now you can see now user created, because every of the information matches all the validation that we specified. But let me do something by changing this username from string and input 1 2 3 4 5, then execute again. Now you can see FastAPI kicks in by saying the username that is expected is supposed to be a string type, but I am passing in what? An integer. So it's going to return a message saying input should be a valid string. That's because in our code, we already specified that this username data type is supposed to be a string. So with this implemented, it saves a whole lot of time and you're able to validate a whole lot of things. In our next video, we're going to look at how we can use the feed in Pydantic to add more validation to our model and how to improve that. So just to make sure this video is no longer than this, and that's going to be it. Now you know how to validate data in FastAPI with Pydantic. This saves hours of manual checks and makes your API bulletproof. If it's helped you, smash the like button, subscribe for more FastAPI tips, and drop a comment if you want a deep dive into advanced Pydantic features. Thanks for watching and happy coding.